Well, to discuss this ongoing standoff now, I'm joined by Eliza De Piri. She's a researcher on Southern Europe for Amnesty International. She's speaking to us this morning from Italy. And Gerard Annemans, he's a Belgian MEP with the Flemish party Vlaams Belang. He's in Antwerp this morning. So thank you to you both for taking time out to speak to Good Morning Europe. And I'd like to first get the perspective from Amnesty International. If you could tell us, Eliza, what the conditions are like on board the Gregoretti and whether they actually respect international law or not.
In the Gregoretti, nobody has been allowed, only prosecutors, investigators and the authorities have been allowed on the boat. So we can only talk about what has been reported. As you said, there is only one toilet. This is a circumstance that the investigators have confirmed. And of course, we can imagine that 116 people who've been at sea on the metal deck of a boat under the sun and exposed to the wind for a week must be absolutely exhausted. There is no way that this situation has justifications under international law or under national law. The Italian authorities are violating the international law of the sea, which says that a rescue concludes with the disembarkation of the people rescued in a safe port, and these people have not been disembarked yet. And in addition to that, they are now being arbitrarily deprived of their liberty in Italy without a judge having disposed that they should or could be detained in these circumstances, as the Ombudsman for Detained Person in Italy has already pointed out yesterday. So really the situation is completely unlawful from an international and a national law point of view.
They're waiting, of course, for the European Commission and other EU member states to take a decision to decide what to do with these migrants. And meanwhile, Italy has said it won't do anything until there is some sort of a resolution. Now, Mr. Annemans, we heard from your colleague there in that report. He's from the same political group as you in the European Parliament, complaining that EU countries are just sitting there with their arms folded. They're not doing anything to help Italy. What do you think should be done? What could Belgium, for example, do to help?
We are now in a macro frame, and the macro frame is that Madame van der Leyen in the European Parliament announced that everyone who is going into the Mediterranean will be brought to Europe. So the thing of the 2015 influx of African migrants has begun again. Mr. Salvini tried to stop that, to get us in another era, namely that immigration cannot be organized by the European Union, and that member states have the power to say no to wild migration as it was in 2015. So in the macro frame, apart from this ship, in the macro frame, Europe should decide, are we going to host all of Africans that want to come or not? Madame van der Leyen is trying to build up a left-wing majority, build it around her and even the Greens. And now we are afraid that the strategy that we built up in the last few years with Salvini will be crushed and will be reversed into a migration.
Just to interrupt you there, I mean, Ursula von der Leyen is not even the Commission President just yet. We're talking about the fate of those 116 people sitting on a boat right now as we speak, and what should happen to them immediately. I mean, a solution has to be found as soon as possible.
Well, what Mrs. Salvini suggests in that micro perspective is that they will be distributed to other European countries. I can understand, and I support his view on the fact that they cannot be hosted in Italy all the time, all of them. Italy is too close to Libya. If Europe and European Union decides to host all people that get into a boat in Libya, it's impossible for Italy to host them all.
And Eliza, just to get your point of view on that, that's basically down to the Dublin regulation that just hasn't been reformed yet. So this problem will still pursue until those regulations are overhauled, right? And the burden can be shared and we see more solidarity.
Well, Yes, solidarity from Europe is something that we have been advocating for years, and it's certainly true that all countries should be doing more to achieve a fair distribution of asylum seekers. However, the Dublin regulation also says that the country who hosts, who receives the migrants and refugees needs to offer immediate access to protection to these people. And Italy is violating this principle. It should also be pointed out that this year the arrivals are very few, and so really there is no reason for Italy to play the card of we cannot host them all, they are so many. They are not very many, and Italy is perfectly able to host them, receive them, process their claims, and give them a decent reception.
OK, Eliza, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there. Unfortunately, this is a topic that merits much more time. But for the moment, Eliza Depiri, a researcher from Amnesty International, and Gerard Annemans, Belgian MEP, thank you both so much for your time.